guys are ready. No. My name is Charles Lindsay. I am the Chief Administrative Officer of the Department of Housing and Community Development. And welcome, and thank you for welcoming us here to Ward 5. This is our Ward 5 Housing Listening Session. Before I begin, I always like to have a little bit of housekeeping. First, cell phones, you don't mind putting them on vibrate, or if you have to answer them, you can quietly step outside and answer, right? This is being recorded. We have a lot of people online. And, I'm sorry, can't hear me. I'm saying cell phones, please put them on vibrate. But if you have to take the call, just please quietly step outside and answer it or take the call. I understand some, folk have to communicate with others. But this has been recorded, and we also don't want to disturb everyone else, right? The other thing, we've learned from these listening sessions, not chastise anybody, but we just ask you to be respectful, because I know a lot of times these sessions can get passionate. Folk are very passionate about housing. So we just ask everyone to be respectful. And if you have a personal question that you don't want the group to hear, we'll hang around afterwards and talk to you and help guide you and navigate the district government as best we can. We are a representative of the government. The last thing I want to say is that we are not the housing authority. We are the Department of Housing and Community Development. We do not issue vouchers or manage the city's public housing.
For some reason we can't quite understand that.
I'm sorry. Is that better?
Yeah.
I do apologize. So what do I begin? Okay, so we are not the housing authority. We are the Department of Housing and Community Development. The difference is that the housing authority issues vouchers and they also manages the city's public housing. We do not. We actually operate as a bank. We gap finance affordable housing through developers, through our HPAP program. We assist with the single family program, but we provide financing, different financial tools to developers to build affordable housing. So I just want to make that clear, because a lot of times when we come to these public sessions, folks start asking about the waiting list for housing authority and things like that. That's not us. That's why I said if you have personal comments or matters, we can talk to you. Although we're not the housing authority, we can definitely, sort of put you in the correct direction. All right, so now we can begin. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to join us tonight. DHCD is passionate and committed to affordable housing and supporting communities across the district. I want to start this evening by introducing the agency staff. As I said, my name is Charles Lindsay, Chief Operating Officer. We have Lionel Gaines. He's our communications specialist. And I think we have a couple other staff. This is raining out, so you guys got to forgive us. Our offices are at 1909 Martin Luther King Avenue Southeast. So as you can imagine, coming across town in traffic in the rain can be a little tough for us.
What's your last name again?
Lindsay, Lindsay. Okay. The purpose of the housing listening session is, one, to educate district residents about DHCD's housing resources. Two, to inform the public about DHCD's progress on affordable housing and listen to district residents' housing needs and concerns. So we are here to educate, inform, and to listen. Often DHCD is confused with the functions of other agencies like the aforementioned DC Housing Authority or the Department of Human Services. We're not either. DHCD manages the district, DC Housing Authority, manages the district's public housing stock funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Community Development, or Urban Development, which is HUD, and the Housing Choice Voucher Program. DHS manages the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, Rapid Rehousing, Emergency Housing Rental Programs, and helping residents exit shelter and short-term housing, and many other programs. DHCD's mission is to produce and preserve opportunities for affordable housing and economic development to revitalize underserved communities in the District of Columbia. DHCD fulfills this mission by one, providing gap funding and affordable housing construction and preservation, supporting communities through neighborhood-based activities, increase first-time homeownership opportunities through HPAP, fund the rehabilitation of multifamily and single-family homes, primarily focused on roof repairs and accessibility improvements. We provide funding for homelessness prevention. We address vacant and abandoned properties and oversee the administration of the rental housing laws and inclusionary zoning affordable housing programs. So thank you again for your time and the opportunity to share vital information with you. And we look forward to addressing any questions and hearing from you. If you would like to know more information about DHCD, we encourage you to visit our website at dhcd.dc.gov. Visit DHCD in person at our headquarters located at 1909 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue Southeast, or give us a call at 202-442-7200. You can also check out available housing opportunities by visiting the dchousinsearch.org website. Next, we're going to open the floor for questions. We have a few stipulations. We'd like you to give your name, what ward you live in, how long you've lived in the district, and if you are a homeowner, renter, or landlord. Again, we'd like you to provide that information. We don't require it. Again, some people find that a little bit maybe personal, so we don't require it. So with that said, I hope you guys have a slight understanding of who we are as an agency. We fund affordable housing. We fund multifamily, single family. We do roof repairs and accessibility, modernization to certain homes. We manage the rental housing laws, rental accommodation laws. All right, with that said, I'm going to open the floor to those in-house. So if you all have a question, you can ask myself or Mr. Leonard Gaines. We'll try to answer them as best we can. And again, if we cannot answer the questions, we will take your information and we will get back with you. We'll at least by getting back with you, we'll see if we can help you or whether another district agency can help. Okay, so the gentleman up front here has his name up, his hand up. Yes, sir. Your name?
My name is Ricky Moore.
You said Richard Moore?
Ricky
Moore?
I'm in Ward 7. And I had a question about DHCDHousingSearch.com. You go on that.
.org.
When you go on this website, you will get a listing of housings.
Yes, the DCHousingSearch.org lists all of the affordable housing projects that we've funded as a district government, and it will show you the available units and the affordability levels.
Tell me something, okay. I had a voucher about a year ago, and I was informed not to look into the listing until I got through with my lender and my realtor.
Just two different questions. You said you had a voucher.
Yeah.
What kind of voucher did you have?
The inclusionary zoning.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you were on the inclusionary zoning list.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was informed that it wasn't necessary to do the housing search because the lender was that form would help. And I shouldn't do that on my own. I could have done that on my own and still moved it along with maybe a little less help from them and dragging their feet.
I don't know what your lender was asking you to do, but if I had an inclusionary zoning, if you on the inclusionary zoning list, and you get a call from the staff or an email or they communicate with you, they're going to let you know that you've probably been selected for a particular type of unit. Now, I'm assuming you were trying to get a condominium, because if you said you had a lender, that sounds like you were trying to buy.
Yes, I completed the whole process, just didn't go to, paperwork, just didn't make it.
You mean Department of Housing and Community Development or federal HUD? Because see, we're local, we're the district's Department of Housing and Community Development.
Yeah, probably then.
Okay, so this is what, why don't we talk to you a little bit afterwards, because this is what I was talking about, with people have very specific situations. I think we could probably help you offline, because it sounds like you just need a little bit of help navigating things, and I think we can do that, if you don't mind. All right.
I'm not gonna go.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I'm not gonna go.
We'll help you as best we can, I promise. All right, thank you. Anyone else in the house have a question? Don't be shy. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, yeah, ma'am, yes.
Well, my name is Caroline Petty.
Caroline Petty, and what ward are you from?
I live in Ward 5.
Way to go. All right, how long have you been a district resident?
I was trying to think, I've been a resident of the ward for over 30 years, so it's something like 50 total for the district.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so you have a question?
Yeah, and my question isn't so much about benefits per se. It's more about the process, the DHCD process for selecting developers for housing production trust fund funding.
Okay.
And I guess, as I understand it, a couple of times a year, I think, you put out an RFP for a request for proposals.
Yes, ma'am.
That developers, is that two
Yes,
times a year or
generally twice a year.
twice a year?
Yes,
Okay.
depending on the level of funding we have.
So then you make selection, developers apply for the funding
Yes,
with various types of proposals. And I guess they propose the terms of, what the funding would be for.
no, not necessarily. It's a proposal. It's negotiable.
Okay.
They don't necessarily dictate. They'll come to us and ask us, they say, I have a project. I need this amount of funding. That if that project is selected and it's based upon criteria, there's a lot of criteria, right? We want to see, is it new? Is it green design? What are the affordable rates? Because, we put money in it. We have to make sure that those units are affordable at residents at certain income levels, 0 to 30, 30 to 50, 50, 80, 80 to 20. So, and if we select that project, it goes through a process called underwriting. And our staff takes a look at it to determine if this is the amount they need, if this is the affordability level they can provide, to see if that project is feasible. So it's not necessarily they dictate the terms.
Okay, so you go through that process. So let's say you get to the point where you want to select that developer for the funding. You're close to that point, let's say. Is there an opportunity anywhere in the process, really, but I'm thinking that's where it would make sense. Is there an opportunity for the public to comment on the proposal or on the potential deal?
Not the deal itself, the financing of the deal, no. But the public does, if a developer's building a new project,
Yeah.
or there's substantial rehab,
Yeah.
you have to get ANC's weigh in and things of that nature, but not necessarily the weight of the deal, no. Now, we do make that's public information once we've, completed the deal and we've.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Yes, it's public. It's on our website. We have a pipeline. You can check out our pipeline, and we have all of the deals that historically we've done, the deals that are in the pipeline, the deals that are closing, projected closing dates, all of those things are on our website. Very, very transparent.
Okay. And so that would include the information about level of affordability.
Absolutely.
The
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
duration of the required.
Absolutely. Most of the
unit mix.
projects that we put money into, we require 30 to 40 years of affordability. Yes. And that's been that way for a long time. When we put money in a deal, we want to make sure that, one, the developer needs that amount of money, and we want to see what affordability levels. Now, depending on what funding source we use, some of our funding sources require us to put a particular amount of that pot to focus certain income levels. So we do ensure, and you can check our website, we meet with most of those goals.
And was the last RFP the August 2023 request?
No, we just had an RFP recently in 2024. We're actually, we're evaluating those proposals right now. So the difference between the current RFP and historical ones is that, as many of you may know, we have a crisis in the city. A lot of tenants aren't paying their rents. And the result is that developers can't pay their bills. And those projects are at risk. And let me tell you the danger, the risk. When a developer can't pay the mortgage and that property goes into foreclosure, not only that, and if that project is purchased in foreclosure, all of the affordability covenants go away. So when folks don't pay rent and developers can't pay their bills, and that property is potentially on a chopping block, we're going to lose those affordable units. So all of the money we put into these units, there's a risk of losing them. So what we've done in this most current iteration of the RFP, we're actually going to help shore those properties up because we have money in those deals, right? We have millions of dollars in these affordable housing. There are several projects all around Ward 5, all across the city. You'd be surprised how our portfolio is a couple of $1 billion. Because we put
right around here.
Across the city, it's a few $1 billion portfolio. Because we put, you'd be surprised how many deals we put money into. And so if the developer loses that project, not only does the city loses that money, right? We won't get that money back, but those units, as importantly, are at risk of being lost. Because if it goes to foreclosure, the affordable covenants are lost. So what we've done in this last RFP, we are trying to shore up the properties that we have funds in. So developers are submitting documents to us saying, hey, look, this is our pain point. We need help here. And we have an RFP that we've written to be very strategic to help those developers pay some debt and to keep those units, because we're worried if those affordable units go away and the developer makes the market rate, now you've triggered possibly, homelessness and things of that nature. So it's imperative that the city, so we're not going to do a lot of new units under the current RFP, although the tax credits that are in these deals, we are able to use those to help in some of the bonds to do new deals. But the majority of the deals of the projects coming through the current RFP, we're going to try and shore those up.
Last question, would you be willing?
Okay, I'm fine, unless you want me to. Okay, he's actually sit down is better.
Share your information.
Say that again?
Can you share your contact information?
Absolutely.
Your email?
Sure. My email is charles.lindsay, LINDSAY @dc.gov.
Charles.lindsay
@dc.gov. Now, I don't respond to you right away. Don't get offended. A job is demanded. But we will respond, but we'll put you into someone that can help. But great questions. We rarely get those in-depth questions about our development finance division. I do appreciate that. I hope I've been able to answer your questions. And if you have additional questions, again, we're going to hang around a little bit longer. I know it's Thursday night football. My Commanders is playing. I'm just trying to get as soon as possible. I'm saying right now, I'm going to watch it.
You love it.
I'm going to watch it. Sorry. Yeah, I saw yes. Oh, okay. He's asking me to transition. You guys don't mind. Now, if you all want me to stay up here, I'll ignore him. But he's the communications guy. He knows better than me. Okay. The young lady in the yellow.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
In reference to the RFP that you sent out there, shore properties that have funding issues.
That has some challenges. Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
So how did the properties that were affected during the pandemic fall into that? Because I'm sure you said people weren't paying the rent. And if they're in a lot of these new developments, they didn't pay their rent.
Mhm.
So what happened in that instance from 21 to 23?
So the RFP is very specific as to time frames, right? I mean, you have to really read it. I don't want to get too in depth with it because we'll be here all night if I pinpointed this, and this. But the RFP was very specific of about different time frame, and we took that into account. We really did. Okay.
So did that affect the number of units back then that were set aside? They weren't affected?
So I'm not sure of the question. Sounds like you're saying, did this just start or did it begin during a pandemic, right?
Correct.
I think it's kind of a mixture. It's a mixed bag. And so, but the point where we are, we're trying to short those properties because we don't want folk being homeless. But we don't want these units, these affordable covenants to be lost.
You asked my
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, the beautiful young, you got the whole thing, bro. I got you. Yes, ma'am. The beautiful young lady in that gold jacket.
I'm new to all of this,
That's
so
all right.
be patient with me. There's a lot of building going on in the city, and it's my understanding that some of these buildings are fully occupied anyway. So if we have, how do you all determine whether or not it's prudent to even invest in a new development if you already have X number of vacancies and properties that are at risk of,
These are some tough questions. We don't really get into questions. You're asking these city policy questions.
But that's important.
Yeah, but I'm not the director and I'm not the mayor. No, so I think that's a really, it's interesting, that's that. And part of our, so the current RFP is somewhat addressing those vacancies. That's part of developers having challenges. So developer looks at a vacancy in several ways. One, the tenant isn't paying, or two, the unit is empty. At the end of the day, the developer's books are going to have neither of those units paying. That's a vacancy. So developers that's how they're looking at it. So in this RFP, that's what we're asking them, right? How many units do you have unoccupied? How many units are occupied that aren't paying? So we're trying to shore those up before we start. And at the same time, we still have to kind of keep developing. Because you have a robust, well, because you still have citizens that need to be housed. Even if
Then you need to increase the amount of the percentage of units in that development.
And as wonderful as that sounds, right? You gotta be careful.
It's a lose-lose situation.
You gotta be careful about, one, we have restrictions on, how tall and all of those things. But a building also has to be feasible. It has to be financially feasible. So the developer comes to us. So the developer comes to us, we have to underwrite that project and make sure it's feasible. I don't know what developer, you gotta look at what he paid for the land, cost of wood has gone up, the cost of steel has gone up. All of those things matter. Financing, some of those things have gone up. We have to look at the deal to determine, right? And if we're asking for units for people at lower income levels, we have to put a lot more money into that deal. A lot more. So for example, if you put someone there 0 to 30, making $20,000 to $30,000, to make that unit affordable to that person for new construction, the city has to put a tremendous amount of money into that unit. And we don't have an infinite budget. We don't have an infinite budget, right? I mean, we get a portion, every agency get a portion. And I have a lot of need. There's a huge need around the city. So we have to be very strategic in how, when we're looking at these deals, to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck.
okay, when you talk about feasibility, I'm looking at pouring good money after bad money. When a developer comes in and approaches the city about getting additional financing or funding for their project, they're not the only ones taking a risk. We're taking a risk too. So when I look at some of the ways that DC manages these affairs, they're not managed, not to be critical, but I'm not going by what the developer is saying necessarily, or what risk he may be taking. I'm looking at the risk that the city is taking with my tax dollars and with the HUD dollars. So to continue to throw, water on, a trickle of water on a forest fire, it doesn't compute with me because you still have a lot of people, low-income people that are homeless and without, housing. Still have quite a few vacancies of buildings that are already in existence and probably in financial trouble. And if I got the right information, there are housing, situations where people that may be in shelters or whatever, they're moving them into some of these vacant, apartments, and correct me if I'm wrong, which is additional money coming out of my pocket or out of my tax dollars, to occupy some of these, units that are not occupied. So I need help in understanding how we manage, these contracts, how we look at whether or not, as you said, it's even feasible. Because if I was a developer and you were gonna give me money regardless, and I'm assuming some risk, but you all are, going in this risk thing with me, then it's almost, they can write stuff off. and keep it moving.
Trust me, it's not done that way. We don't just write anybody a check. I hope I didn't give that
No,
out.
I didn't think that.
And when we, the young lady asked me, how do you evaluate a deal? We scrutinize the deal. The developer comes in and says, I want 10 million, that means you're gonna get 10 million. We deny projects. We have a loan committee. If the project isn't feasible, we'll deny it. So we have a really strong structure to determine whether the city should be funding deals. We don't take it lightly. We recognize that we are caregivers and fiduciaries of the city dollars, but we don't just willy-nilly throw money in deals. Now, affordable housing is a very challenging industry. It's very challenging. And sometimes when you do deals, to the naked eye, it may not be, a great deal. But if we have to house our citizens, our residents, our brothers and sisters that are coming out of shelters, or maybe returning citizens, or in a special needs category, the city may have to put more funds into those deals to make them affordable for folks. And that's just the reality of affordable housing. That's why it's called affordable. But what we try to do, right? We don't put all our money in one basket. We put funds in. We try to put it at each level because we recognize that working class folk, firemen, teachers, grocery store employees, and all the others, we need. I work for the government, right? I don't have a gigantic salary. I need to be able to afford the city. So when we put funds into projects, we ask for them at all different levels. Most of our projects have a blending of the finances is a bit of affordability levels. It's a blending. We like the deals to be market rate, workforce, and then low income, right? To help balance it. So we really do, and we have guidelines. We have guidelines. We have HUD guidelines. We have city guidelines. A lot of our funding sources have certain guidelines. So we're very careful when we put funds. But I got to run because let's talk a little bit because this can go on, and I got some other folk, and I've been touched the folk online. Is there anyone inside that have not spoke that would like to have an opportunity? Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello, your name is?
My name is Josephine.
And which ward?
I live in Ward 8, so like some.
Okay, and how long? I know I'm infiltrating, but how long have you lived in Ward 8?
I had to make a long trip from Ward 8, and I've been in Ward 8 for 4 years now.
I'm 50 years in Ward 8, just to let you know.
Okay. Well,
Mine is college. It's close to it. Yes, sir. How can I help you?
well, I'm going to change gears a little bit
Sure.
here, and I'm hoping that you can answer my question. I have a question about the Home Purchase Assistance Program.
HPAP.
HPAP.
Yes.
So I learned about HPAP maybe about 2 years ago, and
Okay.
I never thought I could be somebody who could purchase a house. I'm a single Black lady. You're a young Black lady,
Congrats,
but
congrats.
HPAP really made it seem like bridging that gap would be possible for
Sure.
me. I completed all of the hurdles that come with HPAP, the courses, the quizzes, the tests, with housing counseling services in summer of 2023.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, by the time the end of the year came around, funds ran out and I wasn't able to go under contract.
Yes,
But, you know, I kind of like kept the faith. My real estate team was like really great and they stuck by me. And now this time around, I was able to find a house that I really like in Anacostia, which is the place that I've always wanted to live. Really, mostly because I don't know, as a black
what's your
woman,
ask? What's your ask? What's your ask?
I guess,
Because you got a lot of people here.
I just want
I'm
to make
not
sure
trying
I'm
to.
providing the full context so you
Sure.
can understand.
I know HVAC because I actually manage HVAC program.
Well, perfect.
So go ahead. What's your question with HVAC?
I guess my question is, under the new guidelines, it sounds like there's a variety of lottery systems that are happening concurrently.
No, not currently, but this one. Go ahead.
Okay, there are a bunch of lottery systems that are happening.
There's only one lottery happening tomorrow.
Well, I was actually told on the phone today by a HVAC rep that there are two lotteries. The
There's
first
one lottery tomorrow,
Let her ask
and
the
then
question.
we'll have,
Let her ask the question.
and then we'll have an HVAC lottery.
Let her ask the question.
I've been really respectful, and I feel like you've talked over me not once, not twice, but 3 times.
All right.
I haven't talked over you.
My apologies. My apologies.
You're doing it again now. And I haven't even answered my question yet. I just want to say, it's no hostility.
I'm not saying my apologies. I'm sorry. I'm saying my
I accept
apologies.
your apology, but I just want to really like make you understand that like that's not cool.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I accept your apology. My understanding is that there's a lottery system happening with HPAC. I was told today by an HPAC rep that those folks who submitted a ratified contract before November 8th would be placed into one lottery of ratified contract holders. And those folks without ratified contracts would be placed into another lottery of non-ratified contract holders. Anyone who's tried to buy a house before knows that there's a lot of things financially that you commit to get to the ratified contract. You pay for an inspection, you pay your earnest money deposit to put into escrow. I paid $8,000, which God only knows where I found that money, but it came together. $450 for an inspection. I'm getting my title company together. Right? This is money that I put out up front. And now I'm being told that even though I have everything together, my settlement date is set for December 16th, that I still may not be selected, though I've submitted my ratified contract by November 8th. And so as somebody whose NOE expires at the end of this year, this is my last chance to purchase a home in DC. And I feel like I'm being kind of like given a runaround in terms of figuring out how do I navigate this, figuring out why I could potentially still not be chosen for this. And I'm trying to get some answers.
Okay, so I apologize if it sounded like I was over talking you disrespectfully. I was really just kind of messing with you. But I am part of the HPAP process. HPAP this year has gone to the lottery. And I guess the reason I was in that mode because there's a lot of misinterpretation and a lot of agents and realtors and folk are telling clients something that's just not true. I'm on the phone every day saying that's not the case, and they're giving the public, in my opinion, just not accurate information. If you were an NOE holder, as of October 25th, you got an email that said, if you are an NOE holder and you have a ratified contract, you please submit to this website. Then it says, if selected, you will get a notice to proceed. If selected, that is clear. And I think a lot of people miss it, say if selected. So a lot of agents was telling clients, you're automatically going to get this. No, it's not clear. We have a lottery. The decision was made to conduct the lottery this year, and that's where we are. So let me tell you what's happening. And I understand a lot of people were, ready to roll. And so what we did, so we have a lottery, right? Decision was made to have a lottery. We have all of the NOE holders with ratified contracts. The HPAP team went through each one of them over the last week. We've identified them. We also know the dollar amount that's requested. And we're going to conduct a lottery tomorrow. And we're going to notify all of the selected people that will be able to move on. We don't have an infinite amount of money, and the demand is great. The demand is great. So we'll have a lottery tomorrow, and we will notify, I think we're going to notify you either tomorrow after evening or Monday. And if you are selected, you will get your notice of proceed to go to the Urban League or Housing Finance Agency to move forward.
So it's interesting because one, I'm a little concerned because I was somebody who got my NOV in 2023. And so because funding ran out last in 2023, my NOE was extended to 2024. So I didn't even get that email. Luckily, my housing counselor is just super vigilant and we communicate daily. So she sent me that. So I'm a little bit concerned about like folks with NOEs that have been extended. Like, are they still going to be considered in that ratified contract?
Did you submit a contract?
I submitted a contract 3 days after y'all sent that email.
If you submitted a contract and you had a current NOE, your name would be submitted into the lot. Now, if you didn't get that email, that means we didn't have the accurate email for you. Because the emails that we have, we got all of our, so the way our program works is that the community-based organizations, you go to one of them, like Marshall Heights, Lydia's House, one housing council service, and you get processed. They submit us all of the client's information, the NOEs, the emails, the phone numbers. So if you didn't get an email, I'm not sure if your housing counseling provider submitted that to us. Now, the good thing is that you did find out about it. And if you found out about it and you submitted a contract, we did go back and check. We took that list and we confirmed everyone that submitted a contract had an NOE. We confirmed that. So if you had an NOE and you were extended, because we did extend NOEs from May 23, I think, or June 23, that expired, and we extended them to December 30 of this year. So we did extend you, but that's where we are. So if you didn't get it, for some reason, we didn't have an act. And the team went through all of the emails and they called, so I don't know what happened. Again, I'm sorry.
I mean, that's my
Okay.
technology. I guess I'm just curious, last question, why did it switch to a lottery system? And that's really where my question.
And so,
And I guess the part two.
So here's what I say about that.
The part two to that is, why did it become a lottery system? And then, what's the thinking behind, like, who's getting selected and who's not? Like, is there, what's the top?
So when you say who's getting selected, who's not,
Yes.
we don't know. The people who are getting selected to go into the lottery, you have a current NOE, no, you have a current NOE, and you have a ratified contract. If you have those two, you go into the lottery. And then we put all of those, the information, we put the folk into a system, a computer system, and it randomly, depending on how many details you should give us, it'll randomly select. We don't put you in a ball, but my team doesn't select, that's not how it works. We got an IT program and we do a lottery. We use the exact same format that the IZ units use.
How many selectees will be notified at NCP?
I am not going to share that information tonight.
Okay, I mean, I just want to say that, like, this is the first time I'm hearing that the people will be notified tomorrow. You're gonna get an NCP. I called today, she was like, I can't tell you it's gonna be in a few days. So the lack of transparency with information is not helpful, and it makes people distrustful and feel like people are stealing money. I'm not alleging that. I'm just simply saying it seems weird to me. Plus, I'm thinking about, well, how will the computer know that this is the threshold for X amount that we can fund, right? Like, if
That's not how this works. That's not how it works, though. Again, you're jumping in. That's not how it works. But that process is not necessarily always for public consumption. So a couple of things. The email that went out, it said tomorrow folk will be notified. That's what the email said. You may have got the email. So hold on for a second. But that email said it. That email that went out to everyone that had NOE, it stated explicitly tomorrow. That's why the last 2-3 days I've been getting so many calls. People don't answer. That's fine. But the computer is going to. You said what now?
I said they should take it out.
Well, no, because we're trying to be careful right now because everybody's calling, everybody wants everything, and we want to make sure we're very consistent with what we're saying. So this way, everybody with NOE and a contract, we vetted, we cleaned up everything. We cleaned them up, right? Because some folks didn't have an NOE, but they submitted a contract. So what we did was we verified that with our partners, our agents that we fund, the Urban League and HFA. Now that we have that information, all of those folk are going into the lottery. A lottery will be conducted tomorrow. Everybody's names will be randomly, it will put into one system, it will be random. There's nobody. Our budget, the cap for every is $202,000.
I know, but I'm saying if I'm supposed to receive 50,000 and another person's supposed to receive 80,000, we're both selected from the lottery, what is
That's not how that's gonna work. Again, that's not how that's gonna work. It's not. If you're selected, listen to me, if you're selected, whatever your NOE has is what you're gonna be funded.
But that's it, but.
Whatever
but
your NOE
if-
has.
if not everybody, of course, but not everybody can be selected. So
Yes.
how does the computer know, okay, now that I've accepted these amount of people who are receiving X amount of dollars, I need to stop here, like, what's the cap on the total number of people from that ratified?
If I gave you that, then you would be, I would answer your question a second ago. And I'm not answering it. I'm not gonna answer that in a public forum.
Okay,
But what I'm telling you,
sorry,
what
I
I'm saying to you is,
understand.
what I'm saying to you is that everybody that will be selected will be funded. We have a dollar amount that we're going to fund. We know how many people that's going to fund, and though that number of people will be selected.
But you can't share the dollar amount.
Now, well, our budget is 35 million. So we're going, and mine is the admin. So I can't tell you specifically, but if you are selected and your NOE has 165,000, you're going to get this 165. It's not going to be reduced. The lottery doesn't reduce your NOE.
I was just trying to-
Let's talk afterwards because I don't want to keep going on and on and on, if you don't mind. Right? And you, it's very specific. I don't have a problem with that and we can go through it, but I'm not going to give you super specific answers because I have to conduct the lottery. It has to be transparent. I got to be worried about what the public is going to ask and say. So just, I can talk a little bit offline. I'm not going to give you super specific. Okay? I hope I helped clear some things up. I do apologize. I was a little bit rude, but and look, everybody's a little antsy right now. I get it. It's a new system. It's a new process.
Just money.
It's a new process. Understood. Understood. Understood.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. I think you had a question. Or something. Yes, ma'am.
Well, we know Barry is rolling over in his grade.
I wonder why. He's my boss.
When I
He's
did
my boss. I know
HVAC,
he's my
when I
boss.
did my HVAC house, it was no problem.
Yes.
And Barry was the creator and curator of that, and it was smooth sailing, and we know that he loved the people, and that's what's his come from. But because they're in bed with the corporations and the
I'm
developers,
not even-
it looks different now. I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
So-
Thank you so much for your comments, and I appreciate that. I actually worked for Mary Barry up to his death.
Well, you
So
should have took
he was
all of that
he was a
good
great
stuff
man.
and used
That's
it
why we
now.
have a statue for him. I did part of the summer youth program. I revere that man. So thank you so much for bringing him up. He was a great man.
Yes, he was.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, how are you?
Hi,
My name is Adrian Woodridge. I live in Ward 5.
all right.
I've been in the area for over, I guess you could say 30 years, but I'm in here to talk, ask questions on behalf of my mother that's been in the area for over 60 years. So the single family residential rehabilitation program,
Yes, ma'am.
how does that work? Say for instance, if my mother needed a new roof, how does that work?
So we would ask your mom to go to one of our community-based organizations.
Go to it physically, go to it, or on the website?
Yes, she needs to go there and hopefully you can help her. Now, if she has some challenges, we work with her, right? We'll work with her, right?
When you say challenges, are you talking about?
Yes. Now, if she has some mental challenges, that's another whole different ballgame, right? Because we can't enter contracts with folk with mental challenges. She may have a guardian or something.
Right.
It becomes legal. But if she has some physical challenges, we can work with our partners to make sure your mom's application is submitted. And, we just ask for some basic documents, a couple of financial documents, maybe a deed. And yes, we will go and assess if her income meets the minimum, we'll go in and fix a roof.
So do you all just do roofs, or is it just kind of like the boilers?
We do accessibility, in general, code violations inside our home. But mainly right now, we focus on accessibility. But again, you can call the community-based organization, or you can call our agency and ask for a single family program. If it's on there, yes, if you call them and we'll get your mom. We did 100+ single family homes last year. We're taking up. Our job, we're really focused on trying to, and we help most folks seniors.
So is there a wait list for that?
There is. It's a wait list. Obviously, when you have a popular program, we have a limited budget. Everybody thinks because you got this, we have a budget too.
No, I
And so
completely understand.
we try to fund as many homes We start with the roof because, you know, the roof is oftentimes where you get leaks and that can cause further deterioration
Yep.
of the structure and all of that. So we go and we look at the roof, and if the roof needs, you know, structural repair, that's part of it. We pay for that. And then so what we often do is take care of the roof first, and then we'll come back and try to, we definitely try to cap that roof as quickly as we can. But there is a waiting list. It's not super long, but I urge you to fill out the application, and then, you know, you can reach out to the team at the agency, 442-7200, ask for somebody in a single family program, and they'll get back with you.
So filling out, okay, so do that. So if you do that process now, it's no guarantee that you will be able to get that service done, the services done in 24. Are you guys done with 24? And now that anybody kind of applies now, you'll then be going into 25?
So let me explain how the city budget works. The city budget works, we don't work off calendar year, we work off fiscal.
Fiscal, right.
Our fiscal year 24 ended in September 30th.
Okay.
And you said 24, I'm like, oh, 25. I'm in fiscal year 25. So in fiscal year 25, we get a new set of money.
Okay.
And so we're operating out of that those new dollars. And we have some dollars and we're taking applications to it, but we do try to, because we have applications in different stages of the process. So, you know, we're working through that. I'm not sure how long to back up. We're doing much better a few years ago. It was some what we call historical legacy projects that we're clearing up. We had COVID, where it wasn't a whole lot of construction going on, but we're back to kind of at our numbers. I'm sorry, yes.
While I think you also spoke about your furnace or your boiler, you were saying?
Yeah.
The Department of Energy and Environment has a program that will make small repairs to the system, not the whole system, but let's say it's a small thing that needs to be fixed and it's a certain amount. The Department of Energy and Environment has a program that can assist residents. Also, I just want to reiterate, the single family residential rehabilitation program is not an emergency program. Like if the roof is falling in and you need the roof repaired in 5 days, that's not what the program is used for. There are 3 other nonprofits that out in the metropolitan area. You have YACOD, it's a nonprofit in Silver Spring. We're building together in Northern Virginia, and DC Habitat for Humanity. They make small repairs, sometimes electrical, sometimes more internal work in the home. And so often we first tell all residents to start with our community-based organizations, because they can say, you know what, the single family residential rehabilitation program will focus on the roof repair. It'll focus on the accessibility improvements for our seniors or residents. But some of the other nonprofits maybe will come in and work in a different way in which we cannot. So again, we encourage everyone to start with our community-based organizations. They'll be able to direct you to our government programs, but also non-governmental programs. And for instance, a lot of our CBOs recently, a large tech company that's well known in the area funded a program to help with repairs to the Corporation for Nonprofit Housing Equity Development. And so some seniors who were waiting for their roof to be repaired, they were able to wait for the single family and also look at the program for CNHUD. So just wanted to add that additional info.
Did you all talk to each other? Because I spoke with someone about the, like my mother needs a new furnace, right? And I was told that they would come in and then they would get, you said they may repair it, but they wouldn't replace it. But I was told that they would come in and replace the furnace.
Could you clarify when you say they, are you talking about the Department of Energy and Environment?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, usually, from my understanding, they've made small repairs to furnaces.
Okay.
If they chosen to replace a whole furnace, that would be a case by case basis. So I can't necessarily say I have conversations with DOE to the extent knowing each resident and the repairs made in the home, or if they were decided to replace a furnace, it may have been deemed necessary, especially we're going to hypothermia season. So I imagine.
Okay. And then one last thing, like you guys were talking about affordable housing, and then like I'm a small landlord, like I guess you could say mom and pop landlord. So the developers that come in, and like you said, you guys do the bids and to do whatever. And now that they have come in and their units are being filled, you guys now gotta go in and help, because it's going, like, the government is now suffering because you can't fill these units that are supposed to be affordable and some are not, right? You're helping these developers at some point, correct?
Please proceed.
All right, so now it seems like since the government is hitting the government, it's affecting the government, but when the small landlords like myself needed help because the tenants weren't paying rent, just like the tenants don't pay rent to the government. The tenants doesn't pay rent to the landlords either, like myself. So it's like, you guys can't come and help the small landlords, but you guys.
So we do have a small buildings program
Okay.
where we do provide funding for small landlords, for
Because a lot of
small,
them have gone bankrupt.
for small, sorry. We provide funding for small landlords for repairs. We will replace major units, utility units like HVAC systems and certain things. So we do have that program.
But
They
it's
have
not
strong
what it
language.
says, it's talking about the non-payment of rent.
Right.
Like the residents aren't paying rent.
No, we don't necessarily have a program to help small landlords in that manner.
But you help big ones.
Right, developers.
Well, let me say this, we're helping. Let me say it, we're helping. We're helping projects that we have money in. So we probably don't have any money we don't have money in smaller landlord units, because we don't generally fund smaller units. Most of our units are 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200 units.
Right.
So if this round, we're helping developers that we have money. When I stated earlier, I said that the risk is the city's money will be lost because we already have money in those deals. And then those units could possibly be lost. So that's probably why we don't really have a program. In this fund, we're not helping smaller landlords financially because we don't have any money in your deal. The projects that we have money in.
Exactly, stuff like that, you know what I'm saying?
Understood, man. Let's talk a little bit later, but I don't have a program to help you directly as a small landlord in that sense. This current round, I'm sorry, I'm letting Lionel speak, but it's for projects that we have dollars and millions of dollars in that are at risk of being lost.
So I just want to reiterate, for those who are small landlords, especially that have, less than 4 units or more, the emergency rental assistance program will be the primary point that renters would seek assistance in paying back rent. I would even,
Which is about to be cut.
no, that's not being, no, man.
Well, we're protesting that tomorrow.
It is.
We're submitting, testimony to council so that we won't get ERAP.
Because it's just like now, you guys say that you have tenants in the units that you have that aren't even paying rent.
No, I don't want to misconstrue. We don't own any units.
I understand that.
Okay, we don't own any. We finance the units.
Right.
Developers are having a difficult time, and we're talking about large buildings. And these are projects that I have money in. I don't have any money in your project. I have millions of dollars in these projects that I have to salvage, and this would put hundreds of people on the street if these units are lost.
Always be hundreds of people
So,
on the street. Yeah, but I get it.
I love this. Comments are great. We can talk afterwards and have, because see, our comments like this help us go back and maybe we start new programs. Like, I think we had these community programs. We started the small business developers program because there was an outcry from small developers saying, help us. You know what? We listen. So we created that program. There's a program we have with the heirs that we help property owners that may have some challenges with transferring property from one generation to the next. We heard the community. We have an heirs program. So we may not be able to help you immediately with everything, but we do listen. This is a listening session, and we've gotten valuable information from you all that we've gone back. We did some ADU programs. You know what? Let's see how we can, we're currently with properties that they can put an ADU unit on and rent to someone in affordable status. So we listen to the public. But thank you so much. I appreciate those comments. And I hope I was helpful. And if you want to have a continued conversation, I'm very open to have that.
So did
Yes,
you
ma'am.
guys
Yes,
get
ma'am.
that
Just-
she needs that?
Can I move on to the next one, lady, if you don't mind? I'm gonna take care of it. Just,
Okay, I'm just making sure.
yes, ma'am. I got you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I want to refer to kind of this question on two levels, because on one level, I want to know, how do you all obtain information that then gets transferred into programs? In other words, how does the community advocate for programs? Now, a neighbor told me about, and it might be the APP program you're talking about, I don't see that represented here tonight.
It was a pilot program,
Yes.
and so we don't have the funding for it, but, and the verdict is still out on it, because those units aren't all completed, right? So there's some of those units are still under construction, so we'll probably get a little more evidence of it pretty soon.
But the problem was, I never got any, so I actually called and spoke to someone, and nobody ever got back to me. And that's part of the problem. In other words, what are the procedures? How do people, first of all, there seems to be, and I'm hearing this, from other people tonight too, this lack of transparency and the kind of mystery about, a pilot program. My neighbor had, I don't know how she found out about it, but, this was literally just word of mouth. And then when I called, I had to, speak to several people, and it was kind of like, well, we're not so sure, give us your name and where you live and all, and then I never heard from them. And I was told that I went ahead and submitted the form they told me to submit. I never even got a response.
So, I mean, I would have to look into that, but we have a robust website. If you take a look at DHCD, we have all of our programs, we have grants that we give. All of our programs are on our website, right? By law, we have to post it. So I'm sorry that, it wasn't, you weren't aware of it. But all of our programs are posted on our website, all of them. Small Buildings Program, the former RAP program we're talking about with ADU that we don't have the funding for. It was a pilot. Some things we do a pilot program to see how well they work. They may not always stay in existence, but, and then ironically, the Council of Governments came to us asking about that program. And now we're in discussions with them to see if we can breathe a little more life into it. But I would encourage anyone to absolutely go to our website. But if you say, I don't know what happened, I just don't know. I can't answer for every situation, but we do have a website, right? And you can ask, ask the director. So generally, Lionel is and his team in charge of communications. They monitor that and kind of get back. So, but if you have questions, we're here tonight. We can take information. We can have a conversation. You can email me, and we'll get back to you. So if you heard my email earlier, you can email me. We'll talk, and we can go from there. Yes,
So
ma'am.
how do we advocate for, because that is a segment of the population that's not getting a lot of help. I'm a homeowner.
Mhm.
I don't make a whole lot of money. And I would like to stay in DC and stay in my house.
Okay.
And I would like to participate in the APU program. However, it will, what I'm getting in terms of estimates that will cost to create a basement unit and to dig several inches deeper in my basement, it's basically, I'm not going to be able to it's extremely expensive, so I could use that help. And so that's the whole segment.
You're right, and that's why it was a pilot program, right? I think it was about 1.3 million. We did have some takers. There are some requirements, but so we have a vast array of programs. So we can't put all of our money into one program. Like I said, we put them in different pots to help out. But you say, how do you advocate? You guys know how to advocate. The young lady here said that they're headed to the Wilsonville tomorrow. You can always advocate. Oh, yes, sir.
And also, I just want to share, we have Kellyanne Morrow. She leads a lot of public hearings, specifically on federal funding that we get from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. But it's events just like this and many others that we have across the city and across the fiscal year, whether it's on federal funding, and I'll let Kellyanne actually just kind of give a quick overview of that.
Good evening. My name is Kellyanne Morrow, and I am the Grant Management Officer and current interim housing compliance officer for the agency. Oh, sorry. So as Lionel was mentioning, one of my responsibilities is to ensure that that I solicit the needs of the community when drafting plans for the district. And I do, my plans are with the money that comes from HUD. So it's CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, Home Program, Housing Trust Fund, Emergency Solutions Grant, which is for homeless, and persons living with AIDS. And so what I am doing, and I have a colleague online who's been taking notes at all of these hearings. And so when you see me on my phone, I'm typing up the notes that I'm hearing from the audience. We will include this information in documents that we will submit to HUD for outlining the needs of our community. Now, as Mr. Lindsay said, those documents don't make the decision. So, it does, you have to go to, you have to advocate for your needs. But, some of the things that I can add into the documents is a need for the ADU resurgent. I can add small landlords looking for rental assistance. I'm assuming it's 0 to 4 units that that the lady has. So we are preparing a list of the needs that we hear at these listening sessions, and we're going to present them. It goes higher up to our director. It will go to in our needs assessment public hearings and documents that we will formulate next year. And by next year, I mean starting in January. So if you are interested in learning more about how you can present needs to my division, I encourage you to do 2 things. One, please go to dhcd.dc.gov and sign up for the notices that Lionel sends out. And then if you want to contact me directly with your ideas, if you go to opm.questions with an S at dc.gov and you give me your ideas, I will collect those ideas and I will put them into my document to HUD.
You said OPM twice, is it once?
No, I'm sorry, I kind of stuttered and I apologize for that. I don't like sitting and talking. It's opm.questions with an S at dc.gov. Now, our next public hearing is on December 17th at 6:30 at 1909 Martin Luther King Avenue, Southeast. We will be talking about the fiscal year 24 CAPER, which is the report that how we spent our fiscal year 24 funding from HUD. The other thing we will be doing is hosting a Section 108, which is a financing tool for affordable housing. We'll be listing 3 projects. Please don't hold me to the names of the projects right here, but Lionel will be sending out emails because I don't have the names in front of me, but you'll be able to see what 3 developments we are looking at providing 108 financing to. And so it goes to your point where you asked about when you can review specific projects in Section 108, which is not Section 8. So I want to make that clarification. In Section 108, it is a loan guarantee program by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And we are going to be working to invest $38 million into 3 developments. Those developments and where they're located, how many units, all of that will be presented on December 17th. The information will also be published online, and so if you email the opm.questions.gov, I will get you specifics. If you go to dhcd.dc.gov and sign up for our newsletters, you will get specifics within your email. And worst case scenario, if all of that goes awry, please call me at 202-442-7200 and please ask for Kelly Ann Morrow or Tila Hall, Hall. And we will be able to get you the information you're looking for. Any questions? Thank you so much for your time.
All right.
So,
Can I go to someone who, yes, ma'am, you haven't spoken, yes, ma'am. Yes,
I know that you all have different programs and they probably have different amounts for what qualifies a person.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to figure out what's a baseline amount of money that a person have to, or income they have to qualify for those services that you will prepare of the homes.
for home repair,
Well, even if
Okay.
it's but redevelop it or whatever you're gonna do.
yeah,
You mentioned-
so it depends. It's income, household size,
So,
and household size.
yeah.
And is it over there?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a,
I get that.
what's the sheet is over there. So it's over there. You can take a look at the handout, and it lets you know what the income, requirements are. All right? And if not, you go on our website.
I just wanted to know here.
Okay, yes, sir, it's right there. Yep, okay. Yep,
Ms. Woodland, just for informational purpose, currently this new fiscal year for the inclusionary zoning program, the minimum income for the inclusionary zoning program for an individual is $28,100. Now, Mr. Lindsay also referenced we have inclusionary zoning. He spoke about tax credits, and we spoke about funding that we give to developers. And it often will be, and I think it's petty references, it will be a different unit mix of 30%, 50, and 80, and sometimes between 0 and 30. And so often we're using public housing, public permanent supportive housing from Housing Authority to fund those units. And so each income level is a different level. So it could be a household, much like you referenced, it could be an individual, it could be a household of 4, it could be a household of 3, and so on. But again, we encourage everyone to just visit our community-based organizations, because if you're looking for affordable housing, or if you're looking for home repairs, some of the programs income fall about within the same range, but for home repairs, it's slightly different affordable housing.
And I thought that, but I wasn't looking at the minimum.
Oh, maximum.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Some people don't qualify because they made too much money. So
Yeah, sure.
we're
Okay.
just making that.
Yep.
Can I just add something? It's important to recognize, that the income limits that are established by program are codified in a statute somewhere, either at the local level or the federal level. So it's very difficult for us to give you an income limit across the board. And I apologize for that.
I made it clear that I wasn't looking for a.
No. So if you see me afterwards, I can help point you to the right direction. My office is the one that puts out the formulas. Well, we take the formulas that are codified in law, and we send out to the different programs the income limits for that year. So please come see me afterwards, and I'll be able to direct you in the right area.
Try to get to someone who hasn't spoken. Is there anyone else who wants to speak who hasn't spoken once? Okay, yes, ma'am.
I wanted to know, has there been a discussion about maybe having a moratorium on building until everything is assessed to see where the needs are and whether it's feasible to even move forward with any building right now, so that if
So that is actually, a decision by the mayor, but I will say this economically, financial moratoriums aren't that wise. So I don't think any city or jurisdiction would consider putting a moratorium on development. Development is oftentimes the lifeblood of cities. But so all I'm saying is that economically, I don't think it's wise, but that's not my decision to make. And I'm not in that circle if that's the case.
No, I was wondering,
Okay.
has there ever been that conversation?
I don't know. I'm not at that level. I do not know, but I don't want to get that deep into it. But I do, sometimes, I want to leave it there. I just don't know. Anyone else has a question? Yes, this young lady here, yes. Ma'am.
Yeah, so do you know how much of the ticket camera money is going into housing for people. And so I got a couple
It's a
questions.
ticket. Okay, can I answer that one?
The ticket camera, okay, so
None is budgeted to us. No money,
None is
no money from the tickets are earmarked for DHCD, none.
do you happen to know, I know this is probably not your wheelhouse,
Yes.
where that money is going, where the
I do not know.
profit of?
I do not
So
know.
we don't know where that.
It goes to the-
I don't know. I didn't say we don't, I don't.
Okay.
Because I'm in affordable housing, I work for DHCD. I don't govern in town government, so I just
No,
don't.
I'm not trying to- Right,
Yes,
just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Second question, workforce housing, for instance, like, okay, so hopefully you guys got the question that the sister was asking. We need to have assistance for small landlords, right? Hopefully you got to get that listening session. But the other thing is workforce housing. We need housing. Where is the workforce housing? You mentioned it. How do we apply? How do I apply for it? I'm a worker, right? And I'm a worker who lives in DC, but barely. I work for the district government, but can barely live here because the rent is so high and my salary, boom, is at a cap. You see what I'm saying? So.
Sure. So can I answer, that?
Sure.
So workforce housing is not necessarily housing that's set aside. It's an income range that we use to say that's with a workforce. When we use these, in our the incomes are generally established federally by HUD.
Right.
And so that's where that income range, when we look at that income range, it's okay, 50 to 80 is kind of a workforce housing range. Okay, so that's two
What does that
questions.
mean? So, okay, so if there's not workforce housing set aside, what is that?
Well, when I say
What does that
set aside,
mean? It don't say like-
but when we put money in units, those units are set aside. Those units are specific for folk in that income level. And what we say is folk, working class folk can rent or either buy those units. So it's not a specific, okay, this is on the work, it's the income category, and they're all across the city. If you go to housingsearch.org,
I tried that. Go ahead.
that's where it is.
So what you're
For
saying is
example,
like,
tax credits, when we put money in tax credits, a lot of those units are workforce housing.
so like this building, that was the DC Dragons, that's now gonna be yet another apartment building, should have what, 10 units?
I don't know about that project.
But I'm just saying, is that like kind of
It's hard to
10 units out of like 300? Right?
it depends. I don't know. I mean, if it's a.
'Cause that's not doing anything.
Well, it depends.
Put that down on the listening notes. We need more so-called affordable housing. And what does affordable housing really mean for a person making $58,000 in Washington DC with 3 children? You feel me? What does that mean?
Yes.
So the listening notes, please get that down there. We need workforce housing. We need higher salaries. We need to be able to live in the city that we work in.
Sure.
And we're not being able to do that. I'm feeling like I'm getting a boot up in here because all the money is going to the people that we have deals with, the millions of dollars of deals with the developers, right?
No.
But you guys said,
No, I know that's.
I'm just saying, that's where the money is going to, right?
You can make your statements. I'm not going to agree with that, but I understand your sentiment. You have any other questions? I have a few other people. Now, I haven't got to the phone line, if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with the lady right there. I live in, 800, I live in Ward 4. My name is Majestic Kent. And I'm looking for affordable housing. I work 3 jobs. Plus I get a social security check. It's not that much money. I get a retirement check. That's not no much money. I work 3 jobs to make ends meet. I'm behind my rent. I don't know what to do. And if the scale that y'all have is 84,000, how can somebody like me or other people can afford you is not in that tax bracket? You know, when y'all say affordable housing, you know, it's not for the people. For me, it's not for the people to work. It looks like for people who have a bunch of children, maybe kids, and y'all look like they get more money than the people that is working hard out here, and they sit up there smoking weed, and I'm trying to get me. It's not funny, it's pitiful, because I'm working, I'm 17 years old, and I'm working my heart to work, so I can have a decent place to live, and I look at these people right here, they ain't working nowhere, and y'all put all y'all money into them, and people who are working and struggling can't get nothing.
But they're not putting all their money into the poor people, they're putting all their money
Thank you.
into the rich developers. I just want to clarify that.
Thank you.
I just want to clarify that.
Thank you.
I just want to clarify that.
It's sad, it's sad.
I want to clarify that.
It's sad, man.
It is sad.
And you got, this man, when I walked in this room this evening, you know, he looked at me like I'm like I'm in the wrong place. But y'all, when you email us, you say, sister, come to the mentor, to try to get us an affordable assistance. This is what I'm coming here for. I can listen to you on the internet.
So, ma'am, if you are looking for housing, what we can do is connect you with one of our housing counselors.
I'm
And-
trying to, you know what they do?
Well, ma'am,
Let me finish.
Okay.
Because I'm very upset with this. You know, you call, you stay on the phone, they don't call you back or none of that.
Who did you call?
I called this morning, I called houses last week, I've been calling houses for the last year or so. And then nobody ain't get back with me.
Okay, well, after this, again, I'm not sure, we are DHCD, where we provide gap financing. We're not the housing authority, so I'm not sure we would call the housing
And I
authority.
got an ITU,
That's-
I got that certificate.
You're the
And,
IT, okay.
and you know what my landlord said? You got to wait on the waiting list. When I first moved here, I told him I had one, then it expired, then I just got one again this year. She got me all the way down to the list, and I've been there almost going on 4 years.
See, that's what I mean, so,
So something's wrong with this picture.
So, ma'am, there is a waiting list for a lot of units, but there are also non-lottery units in the inclusionary zoning program. And what I was saying was that I would love to connect you with the housing counselor, and they can help you go through some of those non-lottery ID units. So if you would like, I would love to connect with you after the meeting and get your contact.
I need to connect to
Okay.
all right, let's take a couple of calls online, or a couple of questions.
Okay, so everyone online, I'm going to start answering questions. I think. Answer. Alex. Okay. Oh, got it. Okay, if there's anyone online, just raise your hand and we'll be able to go through your questions. If not, I'm gonna start going through questions in the chat that are already here. I see it, Mr. Okay, let's see. Yes, Mar, we're gonna unmute you and just ask your question. Mar,
Alan, let's look.
Mar, can you unmute?
Hello, can you hear me okay? Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Hello, can you hear me okay?
yes, we can hear you.
Yes. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Charles and the team for the after-hour sessions. My concern is, can you confirm if you can hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so my concern is about HPAP. I have been in the program since 2022. I have received the notice of eligibility. I have gone through the process to renew it. So it's, it has been a difficult application process. But with the lottery, even though the lottery, I understand, aims for fairness, it disproportionately affects individuals like me who have ratified contracts in place. As you know, to get to that point, we have invested time, resources, and with the ratified contract, there are, I have already incurred costs associated to that, meaning one lady mentioned earlier, inspection costs, appraisal costs, and other related costs. So this sudden change to the existing program structure and the announcement, which misled most of us, will inadvertently penalize us it's not going to be an easy way out if we're not selected, if our names are selected. Because sellers, after so much negotiation, sellers have started repairing houses based on inspection reports. So I just would like DHCD to reconsider the realities of some of these factors mentioned in this session to honor their words that was communicated via email about whoever made it to that November deadline should be getting the notice to proceed. That's how most of us understand that the spirit of the language says that whoever made it before November 8th will get the notice to proceed. But moving forward, the program structure will now change to a lottery. So just, I would like DHCD to reconsider those factors and honor their word. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
Hamlin,
Miss Allen, I'm sorry. Metzler? Is there a free program that helps see who's who got it? That's not it. I don't think he was nonprofit. I'm sorry, Alan Metzler, did you, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
So I have yet another HPAP question here. I agree with all the previous statements here, but my question is, so this lottery is happening tomorrow. Will people be notified if they were not selected in the lottery? And my addendum to that question is, will they know tomorrow, or you also kind of offhandedly mentioned Monday? So so is it tomorrow or Monday?
The goal is tomorrow, the latest will be Monday.
And if you are not selected?
If you don't get notified tomorrow, Monday, you will not be selected.
Okay. I also encourage you to change this because people have spent a lot of money and can't get out of contracts, and now they're going to lose a lot of money, and there's going to be a massive loss of trust in this program. I think you should consider that. Seems like you're not going to, but yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you for the comments, sir. Thank you. Michael, you're next. We're going to meet you. There you go. Michael. Michael. Okay, Michael, you going once, twice. We're going to go to Lil. Please forgive me. I'm sorry, excuse me. Shay Queen Darby.
Hello, yes, I just have a comment. I just want to be here in support of low-income families and renters that are paying their rent, that are trying to make a way out of no way. And I think it's a time that we need to stop blaming each other. Senior citizens, working class, low income, let's come together to solve the housing issue in DC instead of pointing fingers saying, hey, the low income, they're smoking weed and doing this. That we're not all doing that. I'm making a way out of no way, going through housing disability discrimination as we speak. And I am working to make sure that my children will not be homeless. Okay, so let's stop that negative stigma around low income families and renters, and let's come together and work to find a way to solve the housing issue in DC. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shay Queen Darby. Comments were very appropriate. Thank you.
Lee.
Lee, excuse me, I apologize if I botched your name, Lee. Please forgive me.
Hello, yes, Lee is correct. I have a question about the HPAP. I would like some clarification. So to double check, you are saying that people with a ratified contract will be selected by tomorrow morning. Is that correct?
No, that's not.
Okay.
The letter reads that if you have an NOE and a ratified contract, you will go into the lottery tomorrow.
Okay, so I went to DHCD today to clarify my question, to know how many people will choose in the first round of the lottery process with the ratified contract people. And the person come out, said, explain until that reserve the website shows 26.2 million is run out. And then they will go to the next round, a second lottery to without ratified contract. I was in a town hall meeting from March held by, Commander Turner. And in that location, it's not thousands of people annually with a ratified contract. That means that cap 26.2 million can enough sufficiently cover the one who turn in their, ratified contract by November 8th. It's a sufficient amount. Why DHCD attempt to do the ratified, lottery process and ratified, contract, even though this, total amount is sufficient to cover the one who already done it.
So one, the $26 million you see is not the fiscal year budget. We are required by statute to post a dashboard of our dollars. That's, if you look at that carefully, that's FY24 funds. And yet those dollars are gone. We haven't even begun to spend the FY25 dollars. So we have monies. Yes, ma'am. So we have but again, we are going to hold a lottery for all of the district of the applicants that had notice of eligibilities and a ratified contract. They will go into the lottery with an opportunity to be selected to move forward at the NOE amount that they are eligible for.
Okay, and I'm the one of that, the ratified contract. But when did you came up, idea of this lottery process? I never heard until October 25th when you guys released that, that email, because my contract was to start in October 11. If I hear that, the last minute substance of the lottery process, I didn't even enter to the contract to almost losing my honest down, money down EMD. So why you guys didn't disclose this idea of lottery process to the people who has NOE?
So, I operate on where we are and how we move forward. And that's the state we're in. Tomorrow we will hold a lottery, and if selected, you will be notified and you will have an opportunity. Tomorrow you have an opportunity to go to the lottery, and if you're selected, you'll be notified.
So can we go to in person to observe and watch the process of lottery to see that is called transparency?
It's transparent. No, we're not allowed. It's not a public viewing of this. No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
It is a random computer system. It's a computer system that selects randomly. It's the same system with lottery. Excuse me, IZ. The IZ system is totally random, and we use the exact same system.
I was in the, sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I was in the lottery system for 3 years and I have not been selected once. So I am very skeptical that this lottery system is truly as transparent as you say. So I highly urge DHCD to disclose how this process is happening. And if it's as transparent as you claim to be, broadcast it or make it somehow publicly shown to the public, because as somebody who has really trusted DHCD for the last 4 years, my trust has been decreasing significantly each year. So I appreciate your time, and I highly urge DHCD to change this lottery process. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? No. Okay. Well, that's everyone online. Anyone else decide? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
How long does a person have to be a resident before they can apply for HPAP? and. I can't remember.
1 year,
Just
unless
1
you
year.
are a district government employee.
But how long you have to be a district government employee?
If you're a district government employee, well, I'm sorry, both 1 year, excuse me, thank God, yes, 1 year, yes, 1 year.
And the other
Yes,
question is, when you all started the lottery, did anybody at DHCD take into consideration this new law that went into effect for realtors, that individuals have to sign a contract stating that whether they go to settlement or not with HPAP, they still are responsible for paying them their fees? Are you all aware of that? That went into effect in July?
is it a law or is it a realtor's policy? Is it a law?
It was thank you.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, you have that Supreme Court decision, because my understanding with the realtors, it was the U.S. Realtors Association had an agreement and signed an agreement that you don't have, the standard 6% fee is, you don't have to have that. But again, I don't know if that was a Supreme Court case. I think what that was it was a, if I'm not mistaken. But what I ask you to do, if you have it, you can send it to us. And again, I'm not sure how that affects the lottery.
No,
because
I'm not saying it affects the lottery. I'm just saying it's DCHD aware of that, and you take that into consideration.
I'm honestly, I'm not aware of it. If you have it, you can forward me that information and we can take a look at it. I'm not aware.
If you, not to be rude, but if you're in the business of housing, you should know all of that. That should be a part of it.
I'm not aware of it. There may be someone around the agency, we can take a look. Thank you so much. And thank you for the information, because I'm really open. If there's something we need to look at to consider policy, we appreciate that.
That's why the young lady was saying about losing her money. That's money lost.
And you said it's a Supreme Court decision.
It's a school decision, National Association of Realtors.
You know, okay, thank you. All right, yep, I should have on my desk tomorrow.
Maybe the last thing I'll say is that I just want to underscore everyone's comments once more, is that there's financial implications that are going to be really severe, and that will honestly be counterintuitive of the program. If you're trying to create pathways for home ownership, but you may be setting people back a couple of tens of thousands of dollars. And so it makes sense. I don't know why the lottery system came to play, but I really think folks need to really consider it, given how real estate works and what it takes to be under contract in the first place.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the comments. If that's it, we're going to, I'm sorry. What's the question?
Jessica, there is someone with their hand raised. Well, first I just want to go to Jessica. Jessica has a question. Any workforce housing for people who live and work in DC but are not DC government worker, lower income wage earners have every. To answer your question, Jessica, there are a number of affordable housing opportunities in the district for those who work in government or who do not work in government. That's just want to answer your question. But Mar, I see you have your hand raised. We're going to allow you to speak and just ask your question again.
With the financial implication and how the ratified contract and business is being handled on the ground, will DHCD support us to recoup some of the fees that we have invested, as well as if there's any legal implications, if DHCD will be providing resources to support some of the court fees? That's my question.
Mara, if I understand your question, you are wondering if DHCD will recoup potential homeowners for fees invested and legal fees that may occur.
I'm sorry. I don't believe that the district would be responsible for that. So DHCD would not be reimbursing someone because the contract fell through.
Yes, however, most of us relied on this program to achieve this generational dream. We have gotten into a contract based on the email communication that clearly states the November 8th deadline will have the notice to proceed.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. If that's it, we thank everyone for joining us in person. It's raining. And I hope we have one more question, yes, ma'am.
In reference to your listing session, how many more do you have?
4,
Four.
because we've done, this is the 4th. We have 4 more. We're trying to do them in each ward.
Okay.
That's the
And you can't go online as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, we had 30, 20, 30 folk online, so you can absolutely, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have about 30, 40 people online. And what we try to make it interactive. That's why I listen to the folk who come out, and then we, take some online questions.
I had a coworker that was trying to share that, but
Yep.
they have here to not.
If you're on our mailing list, you will get notifications. And you can see that what events we're hosting. As Kellyanne stated, she has a hearing coming up 17th, December 17th.
December 17th.
There you go. And we have hearings all the time, around the city for various reasons, when we dispose of property, things of that nature. All right? So again, go to our website, dhcd.dc.gov, and you can sign up, dhcd.dc.gov, and you can sign up for our newsletter. And we communicate with the public in that manner. All right, thank you. Thanks everyone for joining us online. And we'll talk to you guys then. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.